As a lady, do you think you know and understand men? I'm not talking about what we were brainwashed with, not the perception of men that the society sold to us at early age. We were sold the idea of a man and made to romanticize that. Do women really know men?
I have a very unique point of view that most women don't think. I have to enlighten women because women don't know men. And the reason women don't know men is because from the time that they was born, they've been brainwashed with Disney movies that romanticize y'all. They have been in these churches where they have been conditioned, right, on how to behave with y'all, but they don't ever say who y'all really are. They just say this is how it's supposed to be. A man's supposed to provide and protect. They don't tell you who the male is, what makes them even come to that conclusion, right? So they romanticize everything about y'all, not knowing who you are at the core.
I will never stop saying this. Men don't care about anyone but themselves. They don't care about their women, not even their children. Have you ever wondered why women are mostly the ones taking care of their aged parents? There are few exceptions to this, but most men are conditioned to be selfish. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support.
Men are conditioned to be self-centered. They're conditioned to see themselves as the center of their world and everything revolves around them. Their emotions are more important. Their jobs are more important. Their dreams and their desires and their passions are more important. Their thoughts, their opinions, their perspectives, everything about a man they're taught to center themselves and prioritize themselves and see themselves at the middle. Women tend to be conditioned to be caretakers, to see other people as the center, and specifically the man that they serve. It could be their dad, or it could be a husband, it could be a pastor, it could be a politician, right? But our society conditions women to see themselves as support characters, not main characters. So when you get in a romantic relationship, the goal cannot be equal partnership, because there is a movement that needs to happen. Men have to move from being self-centered and prioritizing themselves and centering themselves, and women have to move from prioritizing and centering others. So there has to be, like, in order to balance it, women have to become more selfish and men have to become more selfless. So it's not like the goal can't be center of the road, because both of them have to counteract the internal programming that they carry, right? Balance is actually pendulum swinging over here and pendulum swinging over here, so that you can counteract the programming that you already carry in your mind. And then eventually, over time, it will even out to more of a balance. But as you get started, you really have to pendulum swing to opposite sides of how you were conditioned. So this might be a hot take, but women, I really think you need to prioritize yourself. Be more selfish. And then you need to be okay with that. And you need to be selfless. Prioritize them, center them.
Women are supporting characters and men the main characters due to societal conditioning. Women need to be more selfish, and the only time you can truly, genuinely work with a man, I mean the man is true to himself and true to you, is when that man is selfless. Men don't want women to be main character but them. Nikanon is a typical example.
I got married in my 20s still, you know what I mean, to the biggest star in the world. My trajectory was here, and then hers, she's already in a different stratosphere. I would lay up at night thinking, like, is this who I am? Am I Mariah's man? Is that what my life is supposed to be? There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm like, this ain't the hustler. Version of yourself. And then when you have children, your man shit is like, wait, I'm carrying a purse, the diaper bag, you know. I'm standing on the corner. I'm like, wait, you know, like she rocking being all the alpha that she
by the way, she deserves it. By the way,
I believe she needs a dude like that. I'm just not that dude. Her and I never had problems. Never argued. Never even with me struggling in this space. She's so understanding and so evolved and lives in her own world. That's the thing. When someone has their own world and you got to be a participant in that, You know what I mean? Like I'm main character. It was like muscle atrophy. I'm not being the dude that God put me on this earth to be. The love kept me there. Even, made it work so well, because I was like, oh, you need somebody. You need a support system. You need somebody that don't want you for your money. You need somebody that's sincere. You need somebody that's willing to build a family and raise some, amazing kids together. And that was my goal. But then there was just something constantly in me like, I got it.
The man.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? Men are supposed to lead. Men are supposed to be the main character. Women are supposed to be supporting. Men are supposed to be the center of it, or not the other way around. You see? It just tells you this is how men think. This is how they've been conditioned. He just used his mouth to say he's supposed to be the main character. He's supposed to be the center of the attention, not her, not his wife. Ladies, you can't be selfless with a selfish man. You will be used and dumped later. Men's selfish and self-centered nature explains why most men lack empathy for others.
Men are not more logical than women. They simply lack empathy in the aspect of, if a man and a woman is arguing and the woman is giving the man points on why she's feeling a certain way, and the man is giving the woman logic on why she shouldn't be feeling a certain way, and he is not understanding why she's feeling that certain way, that doesn't mean that he is more logical and she's being more emotional. That simply just means that he is lacking empathy.
This is why a lot of women assume doing more for him, being loyal to him, being his ride or die is going to earn his loyalty. This is why a lot of women end up disappointed, because they assume that men think like we do. They assume, well, he is going to empathize with this emotional, mental, and spiritual experience that I'm going through being in love with him. But men will never understand that experience. And this is why they're able to leave relationships even after the woman has done everything for him and not feel bad about it at all. Not to say that men are bad people, but this is to give you a better understanding of not putting so much weight on how much you do for him and putting more weight on what your needs are in a relationship and getting your needs met and benefiting from that relationship.
Men wake up every day and try to validate themselves and each other through the control and manipulation of women. That's all it boils down to. Think about it. The idea that men and women are created equal, yet men need to be leading women, is fundamentally flawed. Think about all the things and the attributes that you would give to your mom. Oh, she's the strongest person I know. She's fearless. I don't know what I would do without her. Yo, she's the backbone of that shit applies to all women. They don't need to be led. Lead yourself. You have no discipline. You have no purpose. You have no sense of community, no moral compass. All the raping and killing and corruption and thieving and all that shit ties back to the man with no purpose. The word you're looking for is insecure. If you worried about what somebody else is doing in their pursuit of happiness, you're insecure. Your friends won't tell you. Your mama ain't gonna tell you. Your grandma ain't telling you. I'ma tell you. The fragile male ego is how the world got to be the way it is. So let's get a word of break.
In my opinion, the number one reason why men don't actually experience genuine empathy is because they are too wrapped up in trying to maintain their gender. Men live their entire lives trying to prove their manhood and hold on to it desperately, where they obsess about this role that they're trying to play in society.
And when they're unable to meet that social standard, they look to the women in their lives to feed them that validation. And when she can't keep up because it's like pouring into an endless bucket, she's told she doesn't love them, she doesn't appreciate them, and she's not putting in any effort. Towards the end of our relationship, when we were in couples counseling, my ex told the counselor that he didn't feel like a man in our relationship. That I used to look at him with the energy of pride and admiration, like, that's my man. But I didn't do that anymore, and it had been years since I'd done that, and because of that, he didn't feel loved and he didn't feel like a man. He didn't feel worthy or valuable within our relationship. And I know this because even in the dating advice that I subscribed to in my early 30s, I was told that in order for a man to fall in love with you, he needs to feel like a man when he's with you. He needs your admiration and your appreciation and your respect. He needs to feel like your hero, and go back and watch Nathan's account on the hero narrative. So when this came up in counseling, it left me feeling like, why is it my responsibility to make you feel like a man? If you want to feel like a man, if you want to feel good about yourself, then do things that make you feel good about yourself. But somehow socially, it has become a woman's responsibility to make a man feel like a man. Now, the problem that I see is that these men don't actually have their own concept of self. Like, they have no fucking clue who they are. They're just subscribing to some socially constructed definition of masculinity. And what that does is it causes them to reject many parts of themselves. But when we reject parts of our true self, we try to ground in other people. We search for identity and worth in the eyes of how other people see us, and this applies to everybody, not just men. So when I stopped looking at my partner with admiration and respect because he was behaving in ways that were not admirable nor respectful, because he lacked empathy in every other one of the higher executive functions that exist in the prefrontal cortex, it was reflected back to him. So then those feelings of shame washed all over him, and I was the problem because I was making him feel that way and I needed to fix it. But what he didn't realize, and what most men don't realize, is the icky feelings he was having wasn't because of me. It was because he was thinking in thoughts and behaving in ways that go against his true authentic self. They were his body's message saying, hey, your beliefs and values are fucked. It's time to self-reflect. In healing spaces, we learn that in order to feel whole, you must accept every part of yourself. So why do men not have empathy? Because they misunderstand the concept of self-acceptance. Self-acceptance isn't, this is who I am, take me or leave me. Self-acceptance is returning to your authentic self. Identifying that all of the maladaptive coping skills and faulty beliefs you developed come from a place of self-rejection. So you have to reverse it. You have to shed those things, because if you continue to engage in those things, you continue to self-reject. When you do that healing work and develop self-acceptance, you naturally develop empathy for others. I don't think the question is, how do we convince men that they need empathy? It's, how do we convince men that they need to do their emotional healing work? The sad reality is that we can't. People will do that work when they're ready.
Ladies, if you want to be on the losing side and have regrets later in your toxic relationship, then center your man and don't focus on yourself. Men are selfish and entitled beings. They've been conditioned to use women and control women. Always put yourself first. It is not your responsibility to make a man feel like a man. That man should deal with his inner demons. He should deal with his insecurities and focus on things that would make him feel like a man and not you. It's not your work to do.
Sorry, don't mind me. I've been crying and drinking. I'm about half a bottle of red wine deep. I don't even know where to begin the story, but I guess I'll just start from today. I was cat sitting for my ex and I needed a phone charger, so I went into the desk to look for a phone charger and I found a 14-page handwritten letter from a woman named Hannah. The letter is dated February of this year, and we broke up in early December of 2023, so like 3 months later. I took pictures of every page of this letter, and basically the letter ended with her saying goodbye to him and that she wishes him well and that he broke her, and that whole relationship started in October while we were still dating. Sorry, this is part 2. It gets even crazier. So I thought that Hannah was the same person that used to cat sit our cats. They worked together, that's how they met, so I figured, oh, maybe that's the same Hannah. So I ended up texting Hannah and say, hey, did you send him a handwritten letter? And she's like, no, I've never done that. I haven't even talked to him. Like, I have a boyfriend. I did not do that. So we start talking and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That definitely wasn't me. It must have been different Hannah. And then she says, actually, how did you guys end up breaking up? Like, what happened? And so I kind of told her, like, we just kind of fell out of love. Like, it became roommates, like nothing dramatic. Like, it just kind of fell out. And he basically ended it by saying he didn't think he would propose to me and that he didn't want to live together again. And I wasn't really that broken up about it. So it was kind of a good sign that we broke up. But then she proceeds to send me a screenshot from October of 2022. So almost 2.5 years ago. And I was out of town. I had gone up to Flagstaff for the day to spend the day by myself because he didn't want to go with me to go on a day trip because he never wanted to do anything with me. So this is the screenshot right here. They had a conversation because they were like work buddies, and this is after the conversation. So he said, thank you. Would you freak out if I told you? Told me what? I may or may not have had feelings for you at one point in the past. Please don't tell Laurel. That's me. Sweet Jesus, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Hannah, forget I said anything. Terrible idea, blah, blah, blah. And her being a girl's girl was like, no, don't do that. Plus, I'm seeing someone. So she sends me that screenshot. And that is pretty much all the confirmation I need to know that he clearly was feeling other feelings for other people. And that was actually a year before the supposed relationship with the other Hannah started. So what have I done, you ask? I texted him and said, I found Hannah's letter. And that was earlier this evening, and he still hasn't responded. Granted, he's out of town, but I'm really curious to see what he says in the morning. And I'm really excited to tell him that I'm going to continue looking after his cats for the next 2 days, and after that, I no longer want to speak with him ever again.
And it's interesting too, right? Because some people, men mostly, are like, well, not all men. You can't generalize. And I have to say, sitting here as a 35-year-old woman, that I cannot tell you a single example of a woman that I have known in my life where she has said to me, marrying that man lifted me up into a higher level. I am a better person now because I married him. I have grown. I am nourished. I am full. I have never, ever met a woman who has said that to me, right? I've not seen this. Of course, we've all heard, right? Like, oh, my better half. Yeah, everybody says that. It means nothing to me. I'm talking about truly people who have confided in me about their relationships. Women usually, what they're saying to me in their relationships, about their relationships is, well, he tries. Or, he's a good man. Right? That's what we're grateful for? Just a man who isn't bad? We are literally accepting the bare minimum and wondering why we're miserable. Because we've been told to accept the bare minimum, right? What I hear from women, I don't hear, oh, I married him and it has, elevated me. What I hear is, I married him and I have another child to take care of. I married him and all my dreams went out the window. I married him and then, he wanted kids and I had kids, right? Women have really just been taught and conditioned to want to be a slave to their children, to their husband. And I feel like women are finally waking up to that, right? I mean, we give away our last name. We become the man's property. And then we do all of the emotional labor and mental labor and physical labor of raising the man's children who has his last name, not the mother's, right? And so when there's a divorce or something, those children still have his last name. It's modern day slavery, y'all. It's modern day slavery. And I think the more women who can wake up and realize, and it's not like men are inherently, I don't believe that they are inherently bad, but I think the way that we condition them and we teach them not to feel, and then we expect them to get married, and they're faced with their wives who are like, please just emotionally support me, and the men don't know how, and so their response is to just try to control the woman and silence her so that he doesn't have to deal with the fact that he does not have the tools. He is not equipped. Society, his family, did not equip him to be able to deal with a woman, right? We don't teach men to deal with women. We don't teach men to relate to women. We teach men to control women. Because our entire society benefits.
You know what I wish somebody would have told me when I found out that my husband had an affair? I wish somebody would have said, so what? So what? Go live your life. So what? Okay, it's not your way. Your life isn't going to be what you thought it would be, but that has literally nothing to do with you. Go be all of you. Go live all of your dreams. Go be the happy amazing friend, sister, mother, daughter that you are. I wish somebody would have told me that my husband is not my life, that my marriage is not my life, that it didn't define me, that it literally had nothing to do with me. A lot of people are going to tell you how devastating this is. A lot of people, your religion, your parents, everyone around you is going to be so sad for you. And it's devastating. I know, I lived through it. But girl, there is this whole being inside of you that is fine. And she is good. And she is like, who the hell cares? Like, we exist. Let's go live. We still have the same dreams. We still have all the same wantings. Okay, so maybe it's not him. He had nothing to do with you in the first place. You are whole, and you got shit to do. You have a whole life to live. You are in full existence. So what? He had an affair. So what? He doesn't want you. You exist. Go be all of you.
Ladies, if you love videos like this and you would love to watch more, click this video to watch how men believe they own women and the Bible supports it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.